The chamber was a masterpiece of organic architecture, all flowing arches and iridescent membranes that pulsed with a soft inner light. The air carried a scent like ozone and rare orchids. At its heart, upon a throne of living crystal, sat the queen of the Zakon hegemony. Her form was elegant, with skin of pearlescent blue and large, luminous eyes that held the depth of nebulas. Arrayed before her, in postures of rigid formality, were the delegates of a dozen species. And among them, alone in his simple navy jumpsuit, stood the human envoy. He had come under a flag of truce, a desperate diplomatic mission from a fledgling and struggling Earth to the most powerful empire in the galactic arm. The hegemony's expansion had brushed against human colonies, and the threat was implicit. His task was to plead for tolerance, for a chance to prove humanity's peaceful intent. He had prepared for intricate political negotiations, for trade debates, for strategic compromises. He was not prepared for the Queen's verdict. The proceedings had been a silent pageant of alien protocol. Now the Queen rose. Her voice was not a sound, but a vibration felt in the bones, translated instantly by the implants in every delegate's ear. The hegemony has heard the petition of the human species, she intoned. Her multifaceted gaze swept the room but settled, with unsettling weight, upon the lone man. Your history is brief and violent. Your territory is insignificant. Your technology is derivative. By any measure of our law, your colonies lie within a zone slated for pacification and integration. The human's heart sank. This was the expected rejection, the prelude to a declaration of war. He straightened his back, ready to deliver a final futile appeal. But the Queen's voice shifted, a subtle harmonic change that made the very light in the room tremble. There is a curiosity about your kind, a resilience, a chaotic creativity that is rare. It would be a waste to simply erase it. A murmur, a rustle of appendages and scales, moved through the assembled delegates. The Queen descended the steps of her dais, her movements fluid and silent. She stopped an arm's length from the human. He could see the fine, almost crystalline structure of her skin, the intelligence burning in her eyes. Therefore, I offer an alternative to pacification, a path to alliance. She paused, and the silence became absolute. Wed me, become my consort. Bind humanity to the hegemony, not through conquest, but through union. Refuse, and the pacification will proceed as scheduled. Your people will be integrated by force, and you, as their representative, will be executed for the trespass of your colonies. The air left the human's lungs. The translation must have failed. He stared, his mind blank and scrambling. This was not diplomacy. This was not politics. It was a thunderclap from a clear sky. Wed her? The stunning demand echoed in the silent chamber, leaving him utterly breathless. He saw not a potential spouse, but the absolute ruler of a star empire, a being who could order his species' end with a thought. This was a demand wrapped in a threat, a proposal at the edge of a blade. The other delegates stared, some with shock, others with what seemed like cold calculation. The human's mouth was dry. Your Majesty, he managed, his own voice rough and small in the resonant space. This is not within my mandate. I have no authority to agree to such a personal arrangement. It is no longer a matter of your authority, she replied, her tone leaving no room for argument. It is a matter of survival. Your choice is simple. Give me your answer in one standard day. You will remain as our guest until then. Guards, tall and armored in chitinous plate, moved to flank him. It was a dismissal. The audience was over. He was taken not to a cell, but to opulent quarters within the palace spire. The walls offered a panoramic view of the city, a breathtaking landscape of bioluminescent towers and soaring transport spores. He felt no awe, only a crushing vertigo. The weight of billions of lives rested on a decision he was never meant to make. To marry an alien queen, a being whose motives were utterly inscrutable. Was it a genuine fascination? A political maneuver to absorb humanity without a fight? A whimsical experiment? He could not know. Hours passed in a haze of desperation. He analyzed her words. She had not spoken of affection, of alliance, of partnership. She had spoken of curiosity, of avoiding waste. He would be a trophy, a biological treaty, a living seal on humanity's submission. The thought was a cold stone in his gut. Yet the alternative was unthinkable. Execution for him, war and likely enslavement for Earth. His death would be a footnote to a genocide dot as he wrestled with the impossible. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door membrane irised open, and the queen entered alone. She had shed her formal regalia for a simpler flowing down. She seemed both more and less intimidating. "You are troubled," she stated, gliding to stand beside him at the window. "What did you expect?" He replied, the words sharper than he intended. "You asked me to marry you like you were ordering a new starship. For my people, the personal and the political are one. The royal line must be secured. A consort is chosen for strategic advantage." She looked at him, her head tilting. "But my choice is not purely strategic. I have studied your species. You are fragile, yet you have touched the stars. You are divided, yet you can produce profound unity. You fear, yet you constantly reach into the unknown. This dichotomy is compelling. It is a strength my hegemony, for all its power, has lost." He turned to face her fully. "So I am an interesting specimen. A cultural implant." "You are a potential catalyst," she corrected. "As my consort, you would have a voice. Humanity would have a protector within the hegemony. It is a far better fate than being ground into raw materials for our expansion. This is not a threat. It is the reality of galactic power." Her words were cold logic, but in her luminous eyes, he thought he saw something else. A loneliness as vast as the empire she ruled. A curiosity that was genuine. She was offering a cage, but it was a gilded one with a key he might, in time, learn to use. "And if I say yes?" He asked quietly. "What then? A ceremony? And then I am decoration? You will be a prince consort. You will learn our ways. You will advise me on humanity's integration. You will, in time, share my bed, and if biology allows, help produce an heir of dual heritage." She said it without embarrassment, a simple statement of fact. It is a role. You may fill it with as much purpose or passivity as you choose. But know this. I do not offer this lightly. My offer itself is a sign of respect your people have not earned by any other metric. The night cycle passed over the alien city. The human envoy did not sleep. He thought of Earth, of its chaotic, beautiful struggle. He thought of dying for a principle, and of living for a chance. He was a diplomat. His entire purpose was to find paths to peace, however unconventional. When the guards came for him at dawn, his mind was clear, though his heart hammered against his ribs. He was returned to the audience chamber. The queen sat upon her throne, every inch the sovereign. "Human," her voice resonated. "Your day has passed. What is your answer?" He took a deep breath, the air still tasting of ozone and flowers. He saw the future in two stark paths, one ending in his death and his people's subjugation, the other beginning in a bond he could not understand. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice steady now, carrying across the silent court, "I have considered your proposal. I cannot speak of willingness where there is only necessity. I cannot promise affection where there is only urgency. But I can offer my consent. I will do this. Not for power, not for prestige. but for the chance you offer my people to survive, and perhaps one day to thrive. So yes, I will wed you." A ripple moved through the assembly. The queen's expression, usually so unreadable, shifted minutely. The severe line of her mouth softened. The depth in her eyes seemed to swirl with a new, complex emotion. "Then it is settled," she declared, rising. "The preparations will begin. The pacification fleet will stand down. Let it be known that humanity is now under the protection of the throne. By the bond, it will soon be sealed." As the delegates bowed and began to disperse, the queen descended once more. She stopped before him, closer than protocol likely dictated. She studied his face, the human fear and resolve warring in his eyes. "You call it necessity," she said, her private voice for him alone. "I call it a beginning. The most stable unions often start with a foundation of practicality. Other things can grow in time." She extended a slender hand, her fingers long and elegant. An offer, not a command. After a moment's hesitation, he took it. Her skin was cool, smooth as polished stone, yet alive. It was the first touch, the first step on an uncharted path. He was not breathless with shock now, but with the sheer, terrifying scale of the future he had chosen. He had walked into this chamber as an envoy of a doomed species. He would leave it as the bridge to their survival, bound to a queen among the stars. The story of humanity, it seemed, was taking a turn no one could have ever imagined.